Early in 1970, the photo interpreters, our intelligence photo interpreters, confirmed that there was a prisoner of war camp west of the city of Son Tay. As this information was passed to General Blackburn, who at that time was the head of as a special assistant for special activities in counterinsurgency operations, very secret organization down in the basement in the Pentagon. They looked at that and they said, well, would it be possible to rescue prisoners from Son Tay, because it looked like a fairly isolated area. So they presented this up channel, and they were authorized to present a feasibility study. So 3 or 4 individuals met together and they analyzed the photography and our available resources. And of course, we did not have a joint task force to do the job, but they said we could create one. And yes, we could insert rescue force into Son Tay. So that was the feasibility study, but to proceed beyond that point, they needed authorization from the Joint Chiefs of Staff. So they briefed this concept to the Joint Chiefs of Staff. And Joint Chiefs of Staff was in turmoil at that time. Admiral Moore just ended his tour as the Chief of Naval Operations. He moved up to be the Chief of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Admiral who replaced him was Admiral Zumwalt. This was the first time Admiral Zumwalt sat at the meeting of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. So, like he said, like, wow, I'm really going get into that. And a question came up, said, well, what will be the Navy's role in it? And of course, the feasibility study recommended insertion of Army troops, maybe 50, 60, and support from the Air Force. No Navy involvement. And at that point, Lieutenant Colonel Larry Ropka, my good buddy, said, well, we could ask Navy to provide a diversion. They could launch a few aircraft over Haiphong Harbor, and that would provide a diversion. It would focus the North Vietnamese radars to the east while we come from Laos over the mountains. Well, everybody looked at Zumwalt, what he would say, and well, what he said was really did fit, because he said, I'm going to defer to that on this project to my man in the Gulf of Tonkin, who is Vice Admiral Barchard. Whenever this operation will occur, whatever forces he has at that time, how many carriers, he's authorized to give you full support. Okay. Now this happened. This was in July, and of course, raid did not occur until November. Okay, but we planned for October. That was our original schedule. Okay, so project continued. They made preliminary plans in the Pentagon, and they assembled Army and Air Force units, raiders in Florida for detailed planning and training. During all that time, when we were working and training in Florida, all we knew or all we relied on is that, yes, Admiral Zumwalt said that Navy could be involved, and we're going to have few airplanes in the air in the east. And that's all. No more. No recommendations. It will be up to Admiral Barchard how much help he's going to give us. Well, in September, Admiral McCain, who was the chief of, he was the top military leader in in the Pacific. PACAF, that was the command, Pacific Command. He was the chief, and his son was a prisoner of war at that time. And he was in Washington, so they invited him to the Joint Chiefs of Staff briefing. At that time, he found out that his son was not expected to be at Son Tay because it was already known through publicity that North Vietnamese allowed that he was injured, he was in a cast and all of that. So obviously he wasn't just one of the prisoners, and he wouldn't have been in an isolated facility such as Son Tay. They thought he's in Hanoi or someplace where he has medical care. Okay.